Welcome back, everybody, to Sow and Serve. I'm your host, Sophie Arrington. And today we have a wonderful guest from California FFA, Miss Misty Miller. How are you, Misty?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us. Introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay, so my name is Misty. I go to Cardinal Newman High School. I'm a part of the FFA chapter. I am from Northern California, and this is my second year in FFA.
Wonderful. Let's start off with some rapid fire questions. And the first one is, what is the fun fact about you that most people don't know?
A fun fact about me is that I used to have 4 pet guinea pigs.
Well, and then the second one, are you an early bird or a night owl?
I'm definitely a night owl. I hate waking up early, especially for any sort of competitions or just waking up early for school in general is horrible.
Yes, me too. If I wake up early the whole entire day, I'm still halfway
Yeah, my
asleep.
mood is ruined.
And what is your favorite FFA memory?
My favorite FFA memory has to be probably this year's state conference. That was really fun. And all the people that I have met this year, we kind of got to reunite, and I got to really talk to the people that really inspire me, and just being able to reunite with the people that mean so much to me is always the best thing.
Yes. Okay. And what is your favorite contest?
My favorite contest has to be public speaking, like any sort of public speaking. I like impromptu is really fun, and just in general, being able to speak to a large crowd about topics that really interest me and that are really beneficial to our community has always been a really fun thing for me, especially not only FFA related, just any sort of public speaking has always been a big thing for me.
That's awesome. Thank you. Okay. So, starting off, how did your FFA journey begin? And what made you want to join
So
FFA?
yeah, so my FFA journey began my freshman year. I came in not really knowing much about FFA or like, especially where my food came from and just how FFA really worked. I didn't really understand the community. I never really learned about it. I never really knew anyone that was a part of it, but I did meet 2 girls that were a part of our chapter, and they kind of introduced me. This was prior to me being a freshman. They introduced me in 8th grade kind of to what FFA is, what we were able to do, and my prior knowledge to FFA was probably just knowing that you can show animals. That was kind of mainly the only part I knew about FFA, but they kind of explained to me what it was about, and that's just way beyond that. And I feel like just being able to join that after they told me that I obviously joined FFA because I felt very inspired by what they were telling me, and just being able to see how FFA benefited them and being able to see how that kind of led off to my journey in FFA as well, and how we are now able to connect on a chapter officer team together is just really beautiful and inspiring.
Yes, that's awesome. And what about ag made you want to be heavily involved in FFA?
I think seeing how, uneducated people can be on certain topics, especially in the ag world and in the ag community is really important to me. I feel like a lot of people don't really understand what it is, and, it's not really heavily talked about, and especially, farmers and farm work and ranching and how, high depression rates are and how that they create 99% of the food we're eating, yet they are so just not seen, and I feel like that has always been a big thing for me and seeing how communities can be affected by that and how important that is for not just them, but also for the people they're supplying the food to, so us.
Absolutely. So, talking about your many essay.
Yeah. So I currently have multiple SAEs. I have my market pigs as well as them kind of being we have some slaughter pigs that are not market for our fair, and then I have my SAE for my garden. I have a around 2,000 square foot garden where I'm able to create fruits and veggies as well as flowers for, bouquets I can make for my friends and family, and I get to do that, which is really fun, and I also have a ag comms project, which is my ag account called Misty and Blue on Instagram, where I'm able to kind of talk about my ag journey as well as being able to connect with other members from across the country, as well as I work at a food bank called Food for Thought here in Northern California, where I'm able to kind of be able to connect with our community and work in the garden and just also be able to connect with the farmers that bring in their vegetables to be able to be donated and just being able to speak with them and see how their perspective on the ag industry is, and also being able to see the cool, interesting things they bring in, such as ostrich eggs. I feel like that was really interesting. We had another couple dozen last week, and also just some interesting fruit mutations, just really cool. So I feel like all my SAE projects have really benefited me in different ways. I always like having my SAE projects be kind of really different in a way because I feel like they all benefit me in just such a different way, and they really create my love for the ag industry bigger just throughout their own individual ways.
Yes, I love that. So, about your market pig SAE, how did you start that?
So around, I think it was 2023 for 25, one of my friends did a market pig for her fair, and she ended up winning. I feel like that was really inspiring just to see her journey, and she also has many pigs, and she breeds them as well, and her journey through FFA really also just inspired me in general, being able to see how her pigs have helped her gain so much knowledge as well as she won star in agri-science, so I feel like that was also really nice for our state, so I feel like that was really nice to see that, and just being able to see how their pigs really influenced them to in their journey in ag has been really big for me, as well as when I got my pig a couple months ago, I decided to get a pig through a seller down in Southern California, which was a 6-hour drive. I will admit that wasn't the best part, but it was really fun, and coming back up with it, I care for every day, obviously, and it's just been a big part of my journey through ag because I feel like I come more from a communications background and more of just a not really like coming from like a farm background or like a ranch background. So I feel like being able to experience that with animals, especially now I volunteer at a barn, so also that those being engaged in more as people would say traditional farming and traditional ranching was really interesting for me, and that's how I kind of wanted to get into the more that part of ag, and so that was really fun for me to be able to do that as well as also showing them at the fair. That's definitely going to be my favorite part in a couple months up in August. I'm going to be able to show them at our county fair, which is really fun because all my friends are going to be doing that with me. So being able to connect with other people that are also on FFA and are doing the same types of projects as me are really interesting.
Yes, I hope you do well at the county fair. Yes. And so what is the hardest part about this essay?
I would say the hardest part is definitely just walking them every day because they can get a bit stubborn because they are pretty large now. So just walking them every day and kind of just making sure that their feed rations are still good and making sure that they're bulking for the fair as well because I want to get them up to nice market weight because two of them are currently underweight right now. So I just want to make sure that they're being fed good rations, and that's definitely a difficult part, and just making sure I would say the most difficult part is definitely walking them because they are stubborn. I mean, at the end of the day, they are like us. I mean, I don't wanna wake up early, they definitely don't wanna be walking either. So, I feel like that is definitely just a big struggle, but also being able to learn from that and understanding that they're at the end of the day, they're an animal, and they're gonna do what they wanna do, and that you can't always force them to do something that they don't wanna do, and that's just the journey, and that winning is not the end, like, not winning is not the end of the day.
Yes, yes. And so talking about your garden SAE, what does a normal day look like for you?
So, for my garden SAE, I'd probably wake up and this isn't very early for my garden because it doesn't take as much care as my pigs, but I'd wake up. I usually water them in the morning, sometimes if I can't do it in the afternoon. Then after school, I'll just write down kind of the growth that I've been seeing for the last couple of weeks, just making sure that they are growing well and according to what it was instructed on the packaging, as well as just making sure that we are getting the right amount of fruits and veggies, and also making sure that I'm watering them consistently. So I either water them before school, after school, just kind of also checking out the weather for the week, especially on Mondays or Sundays. I'll check out the weather to see if it's going to rain or if it's going to be sunny because that also depends on how much I need to water them. So I'll probably do that. And then after school, I'll just come in and check up on them and kind of see what they're growing like and just what I can do for the week to prepare.
Yes, and once again, how did this background of your SAE start?
So this kind of started when we do presentations in our ag class about what our SAEs are, and I saw that last year a lot of kids in our class were growing gardens, and my SAE was about my ag account. So I feel like I was obviously doing something very different than them, and I saw how happy a lot of kids were with what they were doing, and also a girl from a neighboring chapter, she runs a business where she sells them. She'll sell a box for 25 bucks, and she'll be able to like drive around and sell them. So I feel like being able to see that there is obviously a demand for that was really interesting, and just being able to also, like I said, get into like a kind of a farming background, as I would say, a mini farming background is definitely really fun, and I feel like a lot of people would benefit from it as well. I kind of started growing stuff when I still had my guinea pigs or my cavies, so I also use that to feed them, and I feel like it not only benefits me and my family, but also my friends who are getting it, also the flowers that are going towards making bouquets for people.
That's awesome. So explain your food bank and your community garden and your community service with that.
So I really enjoy it. I feel like I started this more recently, but it's definitely one of my top favorite SAEs because I get to help out my community, especially the people that have lower income are able to come in and just get food. And I feel like my favorite part is definitely being able to talk to them and hear their stories because a lot of people tend to judge people based off their situations. And I feel like that's definitely not the way to look at it. And just to see what their life looks like and be able to see how that food benefits them is definitely a big thing that a lot of people don't look at, and I feel like that's really interesting to just be able to see, how that food just helps them and being able to hear their story, and I feel like a lot of them have very interesting stories that I get to hear, and I feel like that really has changed my perspective on how I see not only their community, but also, like, how I see that food benefiting them, and I feel like that really also motivated me to start volunteering there more and to be able to just help their community has been a really big impact on me just to see how it's not only benefiting me for, like, my community service hours, but as well as them in their daily life.
So that's wonderful. So talking about your ad communications account, what inspired that?
So this year, one of our state officers who got elected to be a reporter, she runs a ag account. Just being able to see how she grew her love of through ag through that account has been really inspiring for me. And just to be able to see how that account, I just started a couple months ago, but just being able to see how it's already benefited me with the amount of friends and even being able to be on this podcast and how that's benefited me and just being able to meet so many different people from so many different states is just so interesting and mind-boggling to me because I come from a really small town in Northern California, and just being able to connect with people from large areas in Wisconsin and large places in Missouri is just so interesting. And I feel like not only that, but educating people as well, because there's a teenagers that are mostly the people that use Instagram, and just being able to share the Instagram story of my post on like with my friends or on my main account, my public account, and just being able to see how people that aren't involved in FFA or ag are being able to see that and just how their eyes are being opened through that account is obviously a very big thing. And just being able to communicate with other people in FFA and being able to see their perspective and hear their stories has always been something that really inspires me. So being able to see that from a bigger perspective in different states has been a really interesting thing.
Yes, that's wonderful. And so, what does ad communications mean to you, and how can you teach others about the misconceptions of agriculture?
I feel like ag comms is a really big thing because a lot of people just misconstrued FFA or ag as just farming, food, animals, and it's really misconstrued in that sense. I feel like a lot of the times people don't understand where that is coming from or who the people are in general. I feel like being able to communicate that with other people, especially people that are not involved in ag, is obviously a very big thing. And being able to talk about the people that do it is really an interesting thing, especially I feel like being able to see movies, especially in class, I feel like that's been a really big thing. I feel like a lot of people think movies are just like a boring thing we do in class or a boring day. I feel like I find them really interesting. My art teacher really likes to watch movies in our class to inspire us. And I feel like that also really inspired me to start my AgsCom account as well because I saw how people a lot of struggles was happening in those movies that I was watching and just being able to see that and being my eyes being widened on that scale was definitely very interesting. And I feel like that's very important to be able to highlight what people are going through is just very, very interesting.
That's wonderful. So, talk about contests. What all contests have you done?
So I've done opening and closing where I got star reporter and I did vine pruning and also livestock judging. So those are the top ones I've done. And I'm really looking forward to doing prepared next year, which I'm starting to prepare my speech. And I'm really excited because prepare is definitely something I'm very much looking forward to because being able to speak not only without kind of being stressed out and just being able to be prepared and especially being very knowledgeable on your subject is definitely something I really enjoy and just being able to share a really important subject has is really important for me.
And how has prepared public speaking changed the way you communicate?
So I feel like knowing what you're saying and being educated on your topic is obviously a very big influence because speaking to people, I feel like it's really important to know what you're saying and not to just be speaking because you can speak and being educated on your topic and being able to rightfully educate people and saying the correct things is obviously a very big thing and being able to educate them properly because I feel like there is in ag sense there's a lot of misconstrue there's a lot of things being said that aren't true and I feel like being able to state things that are true is really important. So I feel like that is definitely how that's changed me and seeing being able to talk to people is really interesting.
And what is the most important thing FFA has taught you?
The most important thing if it has taught me is definitely to slow down. I feel like in high school, I definitely started really rushing, just being like, I want to be out that door, out that door. I want to graduate. I have senioritis. And I feel like FFA has really taught me to slow down. I mean, I've only been part of FFA for 2 years, but I feel like being able to do such amazing things and just that short of amount of time is just so interesting and how there's so much time left and just being able to cherish that time is very important, not only through FFA, but just your high school experience in general. I feel like if I could say anything to anyone, I feel like that would be to just enjoy your high school.
Absolutely. That's why I love to tell people to wear out your jacket because your time in FFA at the moment, like it seems so long, but once you get through it, you're like, that went by quick. Like, wear
Yeah.
out your jacket. Yes. And how do you manage all your SAEs, schools, FFA, and all that? How do you manage that?
I feel like it's really important to plan, especially like weeks prior, months prior, just kind of be able to create a calendar of what I have and just doing my daily routine, kind of keeping it the same. My biggest pet peeve is just having a different schedule every day, so I feel like I always try to maintain the same schedule, feed the pigs, work on the garden. I know weekly when I'm volunteering. I kind of have a schedule when I post on my Instagram. Just being able to have that schedule is very important 'cause I feel like if I do something, like, off my schedule, it kind of ruins my week, and just being able to plan stuff out is also really important for me because I'm a perfectionist. I try not to be, but I am a perfectionist, and just being able to kind of make sure that everything is going according to plan has always been a big thing for me, but I feel like also kind of the impromptu posts or, like, the impromptu kind of, like, hang out with my friends with my pigs is always also just, like, really fun. So I feel like having a schedule is important, but you don't always need it.
Yes, that's awesome. And what are your plans for after high school?
So after high school, I plan on majoring in something ag related. So I was thinking either ag law, ag business. Also, ag comms is a big thing for me. So I feel like if I could find anything like that, especially econ or economics, I feel like that is definitely really interesting for me. I feel like doing that in after college would be really interesting, and being able to go into the agricultural field is really something I'm passionate about. Being able to be further educated in that field is definitely a big part of me. And, I'm not really sure where I'm going to college as I'm only a sophomore. I feel like my top colleges are definitely either somewhere here in California or kind of in the southern states. I feel like that. I really like the South. It's very beautiful. I like the climate. So I feel like if anything, I'd like to go out of state as well.
And those fields that you are interested in, they are awesome. Keep on looking into that. And what impact do you want to make in the long run, like onto others?
So, an impact I want to make is kind of just furthering people's agricultural knowledge. I've mentioned this a lot, but I feel like it's really, really important to just know where our food's coming from. I feel like that's just like the main motto of what FFA is, just being able to understand what it is and where it comes from. And just not only that, but it relates to so much. Like you may think that you're just eating this food, but then there's a garden growing that. There's a farmer making that. That farmer has a family. I feel like there's just so many points when it comes to that one point. There's so many different areas that connect with that, and I feel like it's really important just to be able to understand that, and not only that, but just being able to understand the agricultural industry and how it affects our daily lives is very important as well.
Absolutely. And last but not least, what is one piece of advice you would give to every FFA member?
A piece of advice I'd probably give is, as I mentioned, to slow down or to kind of just cherish the moments. I feel like a lot of people like to just kind of think about the future and think like, oh, I'm going to do this in a week, but it's like you need to think about what you're doing right now. So I feel like that's really important, just to be able to cherish every moment and understand that you won't have this opportunity in 2 or 3 years, and just be able to understand that this isn't just something you do because you're bored or because it's fun. It's just something that you do because you really enjoy it. And I feel like that's really important because my freshman year, I feel like I didn't really care. I didn't really understand it, but I feel like I gained what I knowledge I have right now from being able to see other people's love for agriculture. And I feel like just being influenced by how big it is and how it can affect us even like emotionally, and being able to see how that really helps us out in life is just really interesting for me.
Absolutely. I love that. And that's a wonderful piece of advice just for anyone to slow down. Thank you so much, Misty, for coming on. Then I've been so honored to be able to hear your story and all your journeys. Thank you.